Hey everyone, Mr. Devil here, Kenny Danico, 3-time Stanley Cup champion of the New Jersey Devils, and you're listening to the Uncle Pucker's New Jersey Devils podcast. Let's go Devils!
Hello, boys.
Hello.
How is everybody today?
Hello.
I'm good.
Hurting.
Pretty good.
You're hurting for a squirting?
I'm hurting. did the old public skate today with the family.
You old son of a bitch.
Let me tell you something. My
How are the wheels?
quasi dream about possibly joining an over 50 league and playing hockey has gone out the fucking window. There is no way with my pathetic skating ability that I'll ever be good enough to play hockey again. I am such a bad skater. I don't know anything about stride, using my edges. I don't know if your skate is supposed to fully come off the ice as you stride or if you kind of glide on it. It was awful. I busted my wonky elbow a little bit. It was you know what? I didn't fall hard. I fell and braced myself in like a push-up position, right? But I got like this wonky elbow, so that force, like now I can't like take my sock off with my left arm. And the last time I did something hockey related with my kid is when I went into the boards. I hit the front of my shoulder, which somehow did something to like my back where I got like this atrophy where I can still press my normal amount of weight, but I can't take a coffee cup like out of the cabinet. Like I need to stay very far away from hockey.
Okay.
That is
Really far, like non-podcast far.
But you
just
didn't
the
play
most-
hockey. You just went ice skating.
No kidding. Yeah, there was no hockey involved. And you know, like my legs. Listen, I work out a lot. I can squat like 240. I think, and it's got to mean something, right? Not a thing. Like 3 laps, and I'm like, my thighs are burning. I got to sit down. But here's the cool part. I really wanted to go with my kid because I told him, I'm like, I want to go skating again. Like I haven't skated with you since I was better than you. It was like 2 years ago. It was like the last time.
Before you could actually walk. That's when you were better.
And he was decent then, but
Before you were
now
born.
he's at the clinics and the middle school league and he's on the ice, 2-3 times a week. But what was really cool is like, I see his progression. I know he's good. He's 10 years old. I see his skating. It's getting better all the time. But in the lens that I get to see it, it's in comparison to 14-year-olds on his team, other kids that maybe started hockey way earlier. So like you definitely see him getting better.
Right.
But I didn't get to see him in an arena full of average people. Watching him skate around today, it was like clear he's a hockey player. And the rest of us are just out here hoping not to crack our heads. And it was really cool because we play this tag game, which is part of the reason why I cracked my elbow. I can't catch him anymore. Now, granted, I haven't skated in 2 years, but it was just all like crossovers. Like riddle me this, right? Like I said, like I can skate, I can work out my legs. I don't have the strength to get my stupid left skate over my stupid right skate. Like that's too heavy. The thing doesn't even weigh that much. So yeah, it was a great time, but man, I don't think I'm going to be playing anytime soon, man.
That's because you can only squat 240, Bobby.
Yeah, that's not really something you should have bragged about.
Are your
That's
legs,
what I'm max, dude.
are your legs okay? Like they're just like two wet
Two little
noodles. just
toothpicks.
hanging.
2 little toothpicks. Bobby legs.
Get outta here.
Yep.
That's
I tell you-
that's pretty cool, but that was still like the most 50-year-old man story of all time.
It's-
Like I brought my
The
kids skating,
reality.
and now I can't get a sock on.
Yeah.
I'm kind of surprised about because you do because at my age, our age, I do not work my legs out anymore. Like, forget that shit. I am not about to do a leg day when I go to the gym, and that's if I get to the gym. But when because I used to snowboard. Well, Bobby, you know this. I used to snowboard multiple times a week and take trips and do everything. And but the first time I went out west was to the canyons out in Utah, and about 6 months before I went, I really focused on my legs. I was like, this is a whole different style of snowboarding. It's really deep. It's powder. and I got to make sure that I'm going to be okay to do backcountry and all that other shit. I spent like 6 months before that trip working my legs out like crazy, and I never worked out in my life where I saw the result pay off as much as it did on that trip.
Right.
I was able to go. So like, that if you were serious about skating, I think you can get yourself back into shape in no time to be able to actually do it. But when you're sitting on your couch behind a desk for 2 years, but you don't even put skates on and you're 50, that's probably what's going to happen.
Yeah.
I mean, it would probably happen to anyone that, hadn't skated. So I don't think it's that big.
I have no doubt that I couldn't legitimately get back to at least the level of skating I was before. And remember, like, I had become very, very good at inline skating and still subpar ice skating. There is a big difference there, and I've just never been that good. I think I could probably get back to the point where I can skate, where I can mostly stop, where I can get back to my crossovers and stuff if I just did it enough. But it just doesn't seem like I'm going to have the time for that in my future. And if I honestly try to lace up and play like a free game, I'm going to get.
You better hope they don't have like a father-son game coming up.
That's what I'm worried about, man.
Skating's also, it's just different than walking or running or any other type of like on the ground activity that you do, like squatting, maybe a little bit.
I know the muscle usage is different, but between all the
grind.
different leg exercises, and my cardio now is actually just real steep incline, walk, like a heavy stride walk where that's burning the legs the whole time. I went into this really confident. I'm like, no, this is the strongest my legs have been in a while. Like, I know I don't have skating legs, just like when I get on my mountain bike once a year, I don't have mountain bike legs, but at least I got kind of the foundation. Nope. None of that shit matters, dude. You either ride the bike all the time, get good, or you're not going to get good. You can skate all the time, get good, or you're not going to get good. So, I think the moral of the story is I'm fucking done with the gym too. Screw that shit.
This shit is just not
let
working.
It go.
Letting it all go.
After college, and I was playing men's league at Chelsea Piers in New York, and for about 10 years, and then I had kids, and it was either my locker, Chelsea Piers, or daycare, and daycare won.
Stupid fucking kids.
So I know, seriously, they get in the way of everything.
I know.
So I took about 5-6 years off, and I was playing the top division there, and I came back, and I was like, it's just riding a bike. It is not riding a bike. I was so fat, so out of shape, and these guys were just blowing the doors off me, and I'm looking around, I'm like, did I get like a foot and a half bigger than me too? Like, I'm the old dirty man, like in front of the net, like chopping guys on like their legs and the top of their skates and just being like the dirty old man. And I always told myself, I was like, I'm going to drop down divisions when I become the dirty old man. So now I'm playing in like the C division in fucking bumblefuck Maryland.
It's fine as long as you're having fun, man. That's it.
Honestly,
the fact that you even still get out there once or twice a week is awesome. I think that's awesome.
But like I shouldn't. Like, I come home and it like my ass hurt for like a week after taking a shot in the ass. It's like, what am I doing? Like, why do I do this? But then I get out there, I'm like, this is the best. Right. You get a couple beers and you on the bench and you're just fine and it's fun.
I gotta say, for our listeners or just hockey fans in general that have never played and you're just fans, like, that's great. This like legit reminded me how freaking amazing and hard this sport is. There's a whole level of sport before you're even should be touching it like a hockey stick. You know what I mean? And it is just tremendously hard. It's hard on your body. I mean, there's so much to learn. I was really in awe looking at my kid today. I'm like, how far you've come, that you could do the things you can do on the ice as a young child. I hadn't even picked up a baseball yet by his age, and that became kind of my sport. So it's amazing. Yeah. So anybody who doesn't know, I mean, goddamn, it is a ridiculously hard sport to play.
That reminds me, one of my favorite genres of video that you see floating around the internet is like football guys when they get like glass seats at hockey games. Yeah. It's just like the funny shit. They're like, oh shit, he's huge. Oh my god. They're like, kill him, yeah, get him. It's hilarious. But you're absolutely right. Like, the size and the speed and just the athleticism that they have. Like what Jack and Luke and Quinn can do, like on their edges. Like, there's a picture I saw where like they're basically like almost sideways on their edges. And
I just saw the invisible chair picture or whatever.
Yeah.
Jack is so on one edge. His skate is like 90% turned on the ice. You wonder how he didn't wipe it out. Maybe he did. Maybe that was the beginning of the shot he wipes out.
He does a lot.
But because they get so low on their edges and do some amazing shit, like, it's gonna happen. You know, I
You know,
couldn't
you
even
talk about
stop him.
the size of these
Gonna kill
guys. Like,
somebody.
It's just
Like,
pizza in your way through.
I love professional wrestling, and the Royal Rumble's actually tonight, so I'm looking forward to watching that.
Nerd
Tomorrow.
alert.
But anyway, wrestling is not nerd alert. I love professional wrestling, and I have my whole life. And I used, you know, my nephew was younger. We'd go and meet, you know, around here wherever they were doing autograph signings and stuff. Met a whole bunch of them, and you know, we met Kane, and he's like almost 7 feet tall. Like, the guy is like literally a fucking giant. And when he shook my hand, it was like 4 of my hands. Like, he's huge. When Eric Lindros walked past us when we were at the Providence Civic Center, when he was, and we had to stand up, and he walked in front of us to get to the press box. I had no idea how huge that man was until he was standing 3 inches next to me. I mean, he's a goddamn giant. Like, these guys are like, imagine that coming at you at full speed. You know, these guys and the
With an
hits
extra,
they take it. Oh my God. What's that?
with an extra like 3-4 inches,
Right. With
because
their
of
skates.
skates too. And
Yeah,
then
it's
there's
a
Jack
crazy-
Hughes.
Well, no,
who
we
claims
were,
this-
we were in the stands. But to Chris's point, it was like legs coming by. At that point, we're young 20-year-old kids that are the size of like our upper body cavity.
Yeah.
Like, that was his thigh, his legs walking by us. It was insane.
Huge man. So, not sure if you guys heard, there was a trade yesterday in the NHL. I'm not sure. There didn't really get a whole lot of news and get a whole lot of attention. Some guy from Vancouver went to New York. I don't know if you guys heard about that.
I did hear, because it was pretty cool. It was the first time that the Stanley Cup was awarded in January. So
Yeah.
good Rangers.
you know, this will clearly solve all of their problems.
That's the one.
Absolutely. I mean, you have a horrible defensive core. You have, you know, I get that you're weak at center. You know what I was thinking today, real quick? Like, you know, like those people, like whether, like, when they find out that somebody is interested in them, then they have to, like, you know, go and like, oh, they're interested, and they have to be with that person because that person is interested. That's Chris Drury. Like, anybody who says, I want to play for the Rangers, he's like, we got to get him. Patrick Kane, right? Tarasenko, and now JT Miller. Like, it's, I don't care if he doesn't fit on our team. I don't care if we don't have a shot of making the playoffs. I want the guy. I don't care that he's older. I don't care that I'm stuck with him till 2030. I don't care about any of that. I want him just because he wants to come here. It is kind of mind-boggling. I know I put on a couple of Ranger podcasts last night. I swear you would have thought they just got Connor McDavid. They were like, just one guy. One guy was on some live stream he was doing, and I hopped in, and you know, he had quite a few people in his room, but for the first 20 minutes, all he kept saying, repeating himself, "My God, you guys, my God, guys, this is my God," like over and over again. I'm like, I can't. I got to go find somebody else that's, you know. So I scrolled through a couple. There was one dude that was like, legit, I don't like this. I'm a Ranger fan, and this is not a good trade. We gave up another first-round pick. And for what? You know, we're probably not making the playoffs this year. But he clearly is the best player on their team. It was indicative today. I mean, I know they got spanked by Boston, but he played great.
It's so great.
This is crazy. What do you
I
guys
just don't
think of
like
this?
it's exactly like you said. This is just another Ranger move that seems like all the other Rangers. This is what they do. They just, oh, there's a shiny toy out there. We're the Rangers. We can get them. And Drury's probably looking at it going, oh, that cap's going up so much. This won't even matter. But you're still leveraging some of your future for a win right now, which you're not going to do. And it's just, I'm just tired of it. It's kind of like the Dodgers now and shit. Like, knock it off, you know. But at least the Dodgers are bringing in people that, like, they think legitimately gives them a better chance to win. Like, this doesn't fix the Ranger problem, like you said.
Well, imagine how much we'd hate
crap.
the Rangers if this wasn't a salary cap league. Holy
Oh
shit!
God, yeah.
Oh God, yeah. I mean, back in the '90s, it's awful when
Right.
Messier came over and half the old Oilers came over again. But like, to your point, it's like the only place he said he'd waive his new movement clause was for New York, and you know, some of the kind of backroom stuff is like we're not allowed to like tamper or anything like that or try and talk him out of it. So kind of pigeonholes Vancouver into like into kind of getting less for what they probably could, retail for him basically. And then
Everything
Vancouver went.
getting public real quick though. Everything going public between him and Pedersen too. That also fucking screwed Vancouver. That also put them in a position of weakness because everybody knew they have to get rid of him. They have to get rid of one of these guys, and it's not going to be AP40. It's going to be Miller. So, but I'm with you.
Yeah, and I think there is now a ton of pressure on Pedersen to deliver now that is out of the issue. If he doesn't now, like,
Yeah, I'm
man,
sorry, which
he
one?
is just
Yeah, which Pedersen?
Elias?
Elias or
Or
Elias
Elias?
or what was the third one they just what was the
I don't know.
Let's
There's
call
like
him EJ.
there's 3 of them on the team now, right?
my favorite is the second Elias Pedersen. His jersey says E Pedersen on it.
Yeah.
Like, it's like that doesn't clarify things very well.
No, just only internally, like the first Pedersen, he was just Pedersen, and now the second one came, so he has to get the E. But if you're looking from the outside in, that doesn't help me. I don't know what they look like. I don't know what they play like. I have no idea.
They're all tall, skinny, blonde Swedish guys too. So it's like this is just I wouldn't be able to pick any of them out of a lineup.
Marcus, Elias 1, and Elias 2. Those are your
nuts.
Pedersens.
Yeah, I don't know why they flipped that pick, I guess, to Pittsburgh for it. So they didn't.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess Pedersen was a pretty sought after piece. I don't think Vancouver is really going anywhere. But back to New York, like this is just the opposite of what they needed.
Mm-hmm.
Like they needed to shore up their defense. Their defense is atrocious, and you could see it today. Like Adam Fox got beat on the second goal.
He didn't get beat, Tim. He didn't give a shit.
No,
that was just a crap ass effort. Like it was. This team doesn't try.
No, like Miller. Maybe Miller will come in and just start bullying the shit out of these guys. Apparently, Drury was a pretty bad bully when he was playing too. I didn't know that, but I guess that's the kind of guy that he wants to bring in. I don't know. I don't see how Drury makes it after the season. I think he's got to get shit canned.
Well, I think it's going to come down to whether or not they do get one of those wild card spots. And again, you have 5 to 6 teams ahead of you. What did we say? The Islanders won today. So that's another 2 points. Ottawa won today. That's another 2 points. Tampa Bay, actually, they tied, right? They Islanders won in overtime. So Tampa Bay still picked up a point. I'm not sure about the other teams that are ahead of them. Detroit, I don't know how they did. I think they play later today.
Yeah, looks Tampa and Columbus have actually separated themselves a little bit from the rest of them. Looking at points percentage, Detroit. No, it's Detroit, the Islanders, the Bruins, then Montreal, then the Rangers. I mean, the Rangers are the 4th worst team in the conference now.
You had a huge game today up in Boston, right? It's a 4-point game against an Atlantic Division team that you are battling, that you have to jump ahead to get into the wild card spot. Your GM just went out and got you the shiniest new toy, like you said, Bob. He comes in, flies in from Dallas, doesn't sleep, gets on your and the effort that you put out against Boston, that's what you gave him. For your new guy to get excited about, to rally around, and he's the only one that showed up? Like, dude, there's so much wrong with this team.
So let me ask you a question about that. How bad do the Rangers have to be where we stop hearing things like, oh, it's the only team he'd move his trade clause for? Like, what was the allure? Other than the city, I get it, the marketability we've talked about, all that kind of stuff. Like, you're a professional hockey player. Your ultimate goal is to win the Stanley Cup. How many times I've heard, but I want to go to New York. Like, I want to be a Ranger. Like, why? Are they projecting forward?
I that blows my mind too. I don't know why. I don't know why he would look at the two, like, we're Devils podcast. So I don't know why he would look at the Devils and the Rangers and say, I'm more confident in the Rangers. Like he's not negotiating a new contract. He's getting paid. Like he can live
wherever the hell you want.
He can live like right across the river or in the city if he wants to. It's 20 minutes. Like I don't understand. And you get to play with clearly a better up and coming or a better core of players that aren't aging out. I don't understand it either.
And you're going to be making a tea time for golf much later than April, and that's what you're going to be doing in New York. It doesn't make sense. I'm with you. It's unless he looked at that team and was like, I can take this team over because they're so goddamn soft, and I can get them to where they need to be. Maybe that's his mentality. I just don't think that the personalities on that team are gonna, I think he can make Mika Zibanejad cry. I really do. And like I was kind of, I get it's his first game, but I don't know. When Mika was starting on the wing, I was just kind of like, you
That's a
want
weird
this
decision.
center depth, and you took your number one center and moved him to the wing. I know he's not a great number one center, but he's still your number one center. He was your number one center last year when you won the President's Trophy and made it to the Final Four. This is the same goddamn team. It's mind-boggling. The effort that they put out today. If I was a Ranger fan, I'd be disgusted.
And they also took Kreider off of power play 1 too.
Yeah.
Like even though Kreider only still has like 17 points or something like that. But
I saw a stat today after the game, and if you have a Shesterkin, and we could stop making fun of his actual talent, right? But if you have a Shesterkin and he's allowed 6 goals 8 times, 2/3 through a season, your problem is not being fixed with JT Miller. Like that should not happen with that caliber of goaltending. Once in a while, it's going to happen, but come on.
I think they said that he allowed 5 goals or more than anybody else in the league.
Maybe that was it. Was today 8 times. It was 5 or more goals. I thought maybe it was 6, but yeah, it was probably 5 or more.
I think it was something like that. I think it was like I think you're right, 8 for 6 and like 12 for 5 or something. And so it was something like that. And but again, you look at that whatchamacallit, Pasternak goal, the second goal that Boston scored today. I don't put that on Shesterkin. I put that on a defense that was sleeping the whole fucking time. And Adam Fox not knowing how to, gain an angle, get position on a guy and take him into the fucking boards. Instead, you just kind of skated with him and hung out with him. And nobody picks up the best player on Boston as he's streaking through the bumper. And, that's not on Shesterkin. I feel kind of bad for Shesterkin, and you could see it in his, I'm just kidding. I don't feel bad for him at all, but you could totally see it in his mannerisms and stuff. Like this is becoming old quick.
I'd be pissed if I were him. I'd be like,
Yeah.
what did I do? Like because he's stuck there, and all those numbers are going to be his numbers. People aren't going to really remember how many defensive lapses they had. They're going to look and be like, 908 save percentage, 3 goals against. You're an average goalie, and you're making $11 million.
What was his save percentage today? 797. I think
792. I think
7 in the 7s. His save percentage was.
Yeah, and he's going to get blamed for that. And it's definitely not his fault. Their defense is atrocious.
Yeah,
it's so bad. Like Lindgren is awful, takes terrible penalties. Miller has regressed to the point where they should probably just wave his ass. Like he sucks. Like Fox doesn't look like a Vezina winner or a Norris winner. Like that goal that you were talking about. Like he just gave up. There's like just kind of let the guy skate by. Didn't even really try. He just didn't try. I cannot believe it.
I also feel like the commentators, right, the people that are calling these games and stuff, they constantly like make excuses for the Rangers. Like even like it's not just the guys on MSG either. Like you'll hear it like, well, the Rangers tried to get back. They at least they played to the final whistle. Like that's what I heard today. Like at least they played till the full 60. Like that's what we're gonna fucking pat them on the back for. Like this team won.
There's your participation trophy.
Yeah,
I mean that's just like Lindy just being like, yeah, just win the rest of the game. It's like
right.
Congratulations.
So they get an A for effort. Whoop-de-doo. They let 6 freaking goals in.
They don't get an A for effort. They get an A for effort for like 4 minutes of that entire game.
And look, JT Miller is going to make that team better because he is that type of player.
Yes.
If I were a Ranger fan, my concern would be that I do think that locker room is way too soft for his personality. How's it going to go? Is it going to just be this guy's a dick, fuck him? Which kind of seems like that's where it would go because, anybody that opened their mouth in public or did anything bad to any of these guys like Trouba and the guy that Barca Goodrow and stuff like that, the whole team just got Like, well, you're picking on our friends, and that makes me sad. And like, no, dude, they don't get it. Do you guys? I know that I'm kind of rambling here, but like, they don't get the business part. They just seem really soft and really weak, and yeah, they don't deserve to make the playoffs.
What if Drury's trying to play like 3D chess, and he brought Miller in to bully Zibanejad off the team?
Well, that's a possibility. Now, you want to know how you do that? What do the Rangers not have right now? A captain. Throw the C on JT Miller and see what that does to the dressing room. Serious. You want to shake shit up? You want to tell people that this is how you are supposed to play? If you're like, if I were a Ranger fan, that's what I would want him to do. Put it on Miller. He's clearly your best player. But the thing is, like, you do have a core group of guys that are getting older. Nobody is going to take Mika Zibanejad's contract. He's not going anywhere. So you're stuck with him. You're stuck with now this core for many years, Mika and JT Miller till 2030. They're aging. You just straight away your draft picks. And this is your win now moment. And you are clearly, I don't even know what your percentages are to make the playoffs, but I would be shocked if they're over 15%. Shocked.
Honestly, the Rangers' first-round draft picks have been terrible to begin with. So, like, Lias Anderson and Kraftstoff and a couple other just absolute misses in the first round. So it probably doesn't even help them or hurt them that they lost them. But
right now, the Rangers, here's the NHL playoff odds. All right. So let's go to they're saying the Rangers to make the playoffs as of right now, and this is according to Money Puck, is a lot higher than I thought, 45.3%. So almost 50% that they're going to make it. Well, we are 94.2% to make the playoffs, according to them.
Well, there's only a 10% chance of that.
There's only a 10% chance of that. A 43.6% chance to make it to the second round. A 22.2% to make it to the conference final, an 11.8% to make it to the finals, and a 6% to win the cup.
Yeah, we're eighth. We have the eighth highest percentage to win the cup.
Winnipeg is number one.
Winnipeg, Carolina, Florida, Vegas, Dallas, Caps, Edmonton, us.
Say your list again in order.
Winnipeg, Carolina, Florida, Vegas, Dallas, Washington, Edmonton, us.
Are you on Money Puck?
Yeah.
Okay, because I have a completely different. I have Winnipeg, Washington, Vegas, Oilers, Stars, Canes, Wild, Panthers, Devils, Kings.
To win the cup or to make?
No, to win the cup. No, I'm sorry. To win the cup. Yeah, that's the order. To win the cup here, the best odds to win the cup is Winnipeg, and then they have Vegas. Is that what you have? No.
Carolina.
Winnipeg, then Carolina.
Then Florida, Vegas, Dallas, Washington, Edmonton,
Where's Florida? Florida's 10.6%. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
That's
I'm always right.
Fault. Fuck off, shit. All right. So, is there any more Ranger bashing you guys want to do?
No. Let's move on. Like I feel bad for them. Honestly, I don't even want to think about them ever again. They're not making the playoffs. We don't have to worry about them.
Fair enough.
We'll talk about them in April. We'll talk about them in April when we play. I might even stop with my Valakech shtick because, like, just kidding. Fuck you, Steve.
Going.
You know what? I think you got to keep it going. I don't want to see anything change and these guys go on a run or anything like that. So
I want to see that smug prick cry.
Exactly. All right, commercial time, and then I promise we will talk about the Devils. This ain't the little itty bitty teeny tiny bowl. This is the Super Bowl, and that's right. It's Super Bowl 59, and you can get in on the action at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of Super Bowl 59. Scoring touchdowns is key to hoisting the Lombardi Trophy, and you have a shot to score big by betting on them at DraftKings Sportsbook, the number one place to bet touchdowns. And new customers to DraftKings can bet just $5 and get $200 in bonus bets instantly. It's super easy. All you got to do is download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code THPN. That's code THPN for new customers to get $200 in bonus bets instantly when you bet just $5. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly on behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas. 21 plus, age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. New customers only. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. So for additional terms and responsible gaming resources, visit dkng.co/audio. That's DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sports betting partner of the NFL. The crown is yours. Hi, guys.
That scared the shit out of me at the beginning of that ad read.
Yeah, why? Because I said
Just because you're
what's up, Tim?
like,
So there's some rumblings that Vancouver's not done. And there are some rumblings of a certain Vancouver Canuck that is in the talks now of possibly getting traded to New Jersey. And that's your guy, Tim, Brock Besser. What do you
yeah, the talks are
guys...
me making it up.
No, this is like legit. James Nichols reported it. Elliot Friedman was talking a little bit about it today in the intermission of the Edmonton-Toronto game. Brock Besser is rumored to be on the block. There are a few teams that are interested in him. Apparently, it was Dallas, it was us, and it was, who was the other team? Washington, maybe?
Yeah, man. If he goes to I don't know how the Caps would be able to afford him, but I wonder.
Well, it's only he's a UFA after this year,
Yeah,
So
yeah.
Now Tom Fitzgerald doesn't mind making those deals. We saw that with Meyer. Whether or not he would have interest in keeping Besser on after this season, that I don't know. Depends, I guess, on what you gave up for him. But Brock Besser, I mean, that's a guy, right? That makes the Devils a hell of a lot better.
Yeah,
I
think so.
You like it, Bob?
I like it. I like it definitely. That would be a retention and probably a pretty decent asset or two going back. That maybe a Casey going back the other way. I'd say maybe try to get that 26 first overall pick instead. But that may be a decent asset going back if we're asking them to retain for Brock Besser. Yeah, and also I think with Besser, that's that wing next to Jack, but I still think we would need some depth adds too. So I don't know how that changes that paradigm at all. I think that kind of takes someone like O'Reilly off the table and makes it more like a Evans or Donato or someone like that.
All right, Bob.
I mean, I just like the player. I'm not going to get too deep into the asset movement and all that. If it is some of like the names he said, I would hope that there'd be a window to discuss an extension first, just so we kind of had that. But just as the player and as fitting a need on this team, I think he fits great. I think that'd be a perfect line mate for Jack. He seems to be a pretty big offensive stud from time to time. He's a little inconsistent, I guess, right? He had like a 30 goal back in 17-18.
Yeah.
And he was in the 20s until he had 40 last year, but they had an epic year last year, right? All as a team was a plus 23. This year, a little bit more down earth, but 16 goals, 17 assists in 44 games. Take it if you're playing with Jack.
They had some pretty bad teams for a couple of years, but obviously, yeah, like every time you see a team have like they went on a bender last year, they're kind of like the Caps. Just everything went right for them last year, kind of
like us 2 years ago.
right for those assholes this year.
Yeah,
yes. exactly. But yeah, I mean, I'd be in on him. He's big, he's good. He digs around in quarters. He'd be a good net front presence. He's a good sniper. There's a lot to like about him. Making the money work is something that they'd have to figure out this year. 6.65.
Do you know the salary? 6.65.
So 6.65, yeah.
and
again, I don't know what that looks like at an extension, but you saw the salary cap news that came out where the cap is going to go up. That's been confirmed. They have the numbers. It wasn't as high as they originally thought for next year, but that leaves plenty of room to sign another person like him, as well as give Luke his extension. We'll ideally have some ELCs coming in next year with like Gritshook, and if Heminiho comes over and steps up, or if Hallinan becomes a full timer, plus some fill-ins, like Lazar, and we still have the large portion of our forward core in place, our D core in place, and our goalie in place.
Yeah, I mean, we know that Tom Fitzgerald is not shy. We can complain about his. I guess I will complain about his, like, seems to me a lack of urgency this time of year. Like, I feel like, but I know that it's not a lack of urgency on his part. I know it's him doing his due diligence and not wanting to put this team. He's not going to just sell out for this year. He's
not
Chris
doing
Drury.
nothing. He's on the
Right.
phones. He's doing
My
absolutely
point.
everything he can to make the team
And
better.
it's my impatient ass that sees, Mikko Rantanen go to Carolina and sees JT Miller go to the Rangers and sees us doing nothing. And it's only been a week. I get it. But, for those things to happen, but I get impatient. But the more I think about, and so my point was, like, he's not afraid to pull the trigger on something like this to try and get the guy, even if he says, look, I'll come like Timo did. I'm not making any promises about extending, we'll talk, but I'm not going to do it. And he pulled the trigger anyway. And he's a big believer that the team, the culture, the area, it will surprise them and they'll be happy here and they'll sign. And that did work with Timo. Whether or not he wants to take another shot at a UFA and give up a lot, like, if you don't have an extension kind of worked out, or at least you're not like, you don't move Seamus Casey for a rental. Like, that's how I feel.
Reward situation. You have to make the deal knowing that if all I get is this year and some help for a playoff run, then that's acceptable. You can't go in there hoping that, there's the extension. Now, if you have time to talk about it, like I said, and bridge that gap, great. But that's how they're going to make this deal. They're going to make the deal based on today. Is it worth it if we don't reach our goals? If we don't go a round or two or whatever,
Is it?
That's the question.
I'll ask you guys, is it?
I don't know what the return is. It's hard to answer.
So Seamus Casey, we're just going to use this as a, reckless speculation.
And I made that up. I have no idea.
But
I think it would be a pretty decent asset.
And they should. He's a heck of a player. And they have, it's not like Vancouver is completely out of this. They have a shot too to make the playoffs. So, they are kind of throwing in the towel. And I think also that depends on Quinn Hughes' injury. If they find out that Quinn is injured and he's going to be out for even if it's 3-4 weeks or whatever, your season's done. He's your best player. You're not
That's
going
enough time to
anywhere
put a trade
Quinn
package
Hughes.
in for him, right?
Right. That's now the time to do it.
Yeah.
Right. Except we have to give up Luke and Jack.
That seems silly.
Yeah.
They can have 3 Pedersens. We can have 3 Hugheses.
Yeah.
I agree. At least ours are related.
Right. But
so
honestly, just for Brad, pack your bags.
For Brock Besser or for Quinn Hughes?
For Quinn Hughes.
All right. So if you can get Quinn Hughes,
just let's use Casey just as a placeholder.
Okay. And then we'll recklessly speculate about Quinn. All right. So it's Seamus Casey. It's just, we're going to do a 1-for-1. You want to throw some late round draft picks or whatever, conditional draft pick in there. I don't give a fuck. But basically, the big names are Seamus goes to Vancouver. Brock Besser comes here. Brock Besser is a UFA after this year. Do you make that deal? Do you feel like this team can, and how far do you have to go to make that trade make sense for the Devils? Bobby, what do you think?
I think I'm really glad I'm not a GM, because I would really want to know that I've got the second deal in line for that. Now, I like the fact that we're saying Casey, because that is kind of a position of strength for us. And we know that we've got another guy in particular that is probably ahead of him in the depth chart anyway. So we're probably okay there, but it would really sting to lose him and then not do shit in the playoffs. Sure. And then also not sign him. So yeah, that is a risk. Is it a risk worth taking for this year, for this team with their window? I'm honestly thinking I'm going to say yes. I think that every crack that we can go for a Stanley Cup for the next few years, we have to take, and we've got the capital to do it. So it would sting if we go nowhere, but I would probably do that.
And how far in the playoffs do you have to go for that to make sense?
I don't know if that's a depth. I mean, to me, it's just you're trying to win the whole thing. So I guess it still makes sense if you go at least into the third round.
Okay.
But you can't really think like that. I mean, look at us. We're likely going to get Carolina first. I mean, would you really be upset if we had a hard fought series against Carolina and lost? I mean, I know you'd be upset as a fan that we didn't win, but would
I be surprised? No,
Right, of course not.
Like, no.
And then if we get through them, I don't know. So yeah, if you want me to put a couple rounds on, I'll put a couple rounds on it. But for me, I'm talking like this is going for Stanley Cup level.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like, and I've said this before. It's like right now, like we're getting the best of Jacob Marsham, assuming he comes back healthy and kind of doesn't miss a beat. We mostly have our forward health, and our D health. Our D core has been intact. You have to take advantage of health and goaltending and things going your way. And we have that right D side is a position of strength. Like we have the assets to spend there. And if that can.
Tim's gone.
He's got kind of an O face, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's just kind of stuck there.
Well, then I guess we're going to have to hear what you have to say.
All right. I know I just said before I don't do that if it's just the rental, but I don't. I talked myself out of it already, and here's why. Tim, you're back.
Yeah, sorry, but
do you want to finish your thought?
I'd go kick him in the ass. I say yeah, like I would not fault Fitz if he added good pieces like that and sacrifice some things to take a kick at the can now, because I think we're in our window right now to start taking kicks at the can every single year.
Okay.
And if we don't win the cup, that's going to suck, but like I think we need to take those chances.
Yeah, like I said, I talked myself out of it already. You don't get Jacob Markstrom for 2 years and not do something like this if it does come where you can make this deal. Here's another reason. Timo Meier, he's been in the league 8 years. Nico Hischier, Jesper Bratt, 7. Jack Hughes, 6. This team
crazy
has been around. This core has been around. It's time to fucking win. It's time to make it to the playoffs every year from here on out. It's time to be a contender every year. And if you got to make a mark by taking a chance to get a Brock Besser in here and whatever else you feel like you have to do to make this team better now, you go for it. We've seen them play against the Canes, the Panthers. I'm so excited for Thursday night against Vegas. I really want to see how they play against them. Edmonton, these great teams that are, consummate perennial Stanley Cup contenders, and we've beaten them, played great against them, hung with them. Yeah, do it. Do whatever you have to do.
Yeah,
because I do trust that Tom Fitzgerald is not so reckless that he's going to set this team back by making any kind of moves. So I'm fine with it.
Right. And we lost a year last year of this prime of the core of this team. We lost a year last year because of health. And when you have health, like that's the most important thing I think for a team to have to kind of make a deep run in the playoffs. You got to be healthy.
I'll add one more caveat to that trade scenario. There's no way I do that if that's the only move we're doing. I want to know that, like 3C's being addressed and, that you're not just, that can't be it. Like if you're going to do this and going to go all in, let's tweak a little more.
All right.
I actually, that's a very good point. I agree with that. I honestly, I think the moves that are going to happen are just those depth moves. I don't think we're going to take a swing at a wing to line up with Jack. I just don't see the money happening. And to make the money work, we'd have to basically sell a current roster asset. We just don't have the depth, I don't think, to do that on our current roster. Like as much shit as we give Mercer, like I don't think like getting rid of him helps our team if we bring in Besser. Because what do we put? We're putting Hallinan in Mercer's spot. Like that's a downgrade, I think. So I just don't see that working out.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what Fitz ends up doing. How would you guys?
Yeah.
How would you feel if he stood pat?
I'd punt him to the fucking sun.
Seriously, like, how would you feel if he did nothing?
I don't think that we've seen the same team that we saw what they're capable of for a long time now. It's been this little injury over here and this one over here. Didn't start off looking like much, but that kind of core that was putting together all those wins and all those points, nothing streaky too long, right? We were complaining about that, but still the accumulation of points was on a good cadence. We haven't really had that for a while. So in order to answer that question, like, I'd like to see our guys back first, give me another couple of weeks, because if you're thinking you're going to stand pat, well, then it certainly doesn't hurt to reevaluate for another couple of weeks anyway, because we have seen what they can do. You just talked about it. Yeah. They're a legit big time contending teams that we owned, played very well. We can go toe to toe with most teams when they're playing the right way. I don't know that if the playoffs started right now, even with our guys, that we're fully playing the right way, where I'd be comfortable. Like, oh yeah, fine, we got Carolina, we got this. When we play our game, we got this. But we're just not playing it right now. So,
and the main reason why that's never going to happen is because everybody around you now is getting better. Like Carolina just went and got Mikko Rantanen. Like, you can't stand pat now. They just made themselves considerably better. So I would be fucking livid if he did that. If he just decided this was the team. No, this ain't the team.
I would be, I'd be like, what the fuck, man? Then I'd be like, yeah, you are sitting on your hands. I don't think he is. Like, I know that's just a pervasive thing that people think. Like, he wasn't sitting on his hands last year. He was trying to get shit done. Just, the circumstances weren't lining up very well.
It has to
and
make
honestly,
sense.
like it was a lost season. Like, what's he gonna do? Like, trade Nemec
for JT Miller? Apparently,
yeah. I don't know. Yeah. But
so that goes to our question that we just talked about. Like, maybe, as a GM, you got to put on a lot of different hats, and he can, like, literally sit there and be like, is anything I do right now actually going to give us a chance to win the Stanley Cup? Like this year, for what they were asking in return. And his answer was probably no. He was just probably very brutally honest with the fact that not this year, not with the goaltending we had, now with the goaltending we couldn't bring in because of the asking prices. So, gets a lot of shit for it.
And what to get like the 15th pick as opposed to the 10th, and we still missed the playoffs.
And I also think that he was waiting to see it turn around. Like, that's another thing. I think he was being very patient. And like we said, that trip out west last year that Lindy Ruff didn't survive. Excuse me. That was, like, I think his absolute last time he was giving this team a chance. Like, you guys got to put it together now. I can't bring anything into this room to help you if you show me absolutely nothing. And that was another problem last year. They played with no heart. They got pushed around. It was a completely different team. So, you see the things that he did this year. Like you say, you don't go out and get Pesce and Dylan and Cotter and Markstrom, and then at this time of the year, not make your team better. Like, you just don't do that. When everyone around you is getting better, you got to, keep up with the Caneses.
And I mentioned Eric Tolsky's interviews that in the last pod that we did, but another thing that Carolina has to do and that we have to do is sell people on New Jersey. Like, that's kind of the ease of being the Rangers and even Vegas now. Like, Vegas operates
Florida.
Vegas operates very ruthlessly because it's Las Vegas and they're putting on a show. So they kind of have to change the show almost that they're putting on.
It's interesting
because it's a Vegas property. And they're just ruthless, and people want to go play there. People have to be kind of talked into coming to play in New Jersey, and that's what Fitz does in saying, I'm building this culture. And it's a philosophy difference. Fitz wants to build a culture from the ground up, and Vegas is like, fuck you. If you're too old, if you suck, you're out.
Right.
Florida is kind of somewhere in between. But once you get down to Florida, you're like, this is awesome. I get to drive to the rink in a golf cart. Like, this is the coolest life ever.
But he also does a good job with selling Jersey too. Gets these guys up to Hoboken, and they're hanging out in that cool city. They're, like you said, a 15-minute ferry ride or a subway trip over to Manhattan. Got everything you want there. In the summertime, you drive 45 minutes. You're on the beach. You got good restaurants. You want to go to Atlantic City, it's an hour and a half away. So I think
Oof,
he
nobody wants to
does a
go to
good
Atlantic
job.
City.
What's that?
You want to go to is Atlantic City really a draw?
Yeah, of course it is. Have you ever been to Atlantic City?
Of course I have. I lived
Okay.
there for a summer.
Sorry that you live there.
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
I was just there Bob, we were just there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. For
Yeah,
James Addiction.
James Addiction.
Me and a couple friends, we rented an absolutely disgusting hellhole of a house and just lived there for a summer, worked shitty jobs, and it's a hell of a fun time. I would
Oh
never
God,
recommend it.
yeah.
My dad was just like, "What are you doing?" I was
Dad, I
like,
just
"Yeah,
got to
we're
get it
gonna
out of
live
my
in Atlantic
system.
City for a year." He's like, "What?" Yeah. He's like, "No, you're not."
What's the matter?
He's like-
Camden
he's
was
like,
too nice for you?
Right.
No, and he's like, you're going to play
Sorry,
college
Camden.
hockey next year. Like, what do you? This is the year between my high school and college. He's like,
Sowing my
you
meth
gotta
head
like,
oats, Dad.
yeah. He's like, you gotta go like get in shape for your college hockey career and not go to Atlantic City and do cocaine every night.
There's nothing wrong with going to Atlantic City and do cocaine every night, Tim. No
And
matter
that's
what
what
your
I
father
told.
says, he
That's
was
what I
wrong.
told him. Oddly,
He
he
was
was not on
wrong.
board with that.
Right? Because you didn't
Strange.
invite him over to do
Yeah.
it with you.
Yeah, seriously, Dad.
All right.
He was
Just to put a little bow on that whole coming to New Jersey thing and my little quip earlier about having Quinn Hughes here, which, you know what, the more I think about it, the more I think at some point these three guys are going to play together.
Yeah,
Even if it's
probably
just
in
for like
Utah.
1 year, like, because they start moving around, but one guy takes, I'm not going to do another 5-year contract right now. I'm just going to do one to play with my brothers or something like that. But so I don't know, Tim, you're kind of the bigger social media guy. Do you know Carl the Grinder? Is this a handle that means anything to you?
We're talking about Twitter, right? Not like Saturday
Grindr.
night.
Not Twitter, sir.
I know
Car-
Carl on Grinder, but
There you go.
Carl the Grinder says, imagine telling a millionaire to move from a world-class city to New Jersey. If he leaves, it's going to be to New York or Chicago, etc. He isn't moving to Jersey just for his brothers. He would overshadow and belittle Luke Hughes' career.
I did see
Ew.
that. I didn't the Twitter handle. I saw New Jersey Devils fans like just fucking
Totally
roasting
murdered this guy.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
absolutely buried him. It's
Yeah.
pretty funny. There's some great. We have one of the nice things about the Devils fan base on Twitter is we have some absolutely elite shit posters that just fucking
We sure
can
do. Yes.
ruin
They're
people.
very good at what they do.
They're very good.
Very Jersey, actually.
It's
Yeah.
like perfect. Yeah, it's like come to New Jersey. So yeah, that guy got just absolutely obliterated. But
Yeah.
that just totally misunderstands. It's like, okay, so what have you been to Newark Airport and like driven on the turnpike? Because
Well, New Jersey itself is not like a city. It's very,
Right.
very broad
I know
places.
it also happens to be pretty close to New York City and a better place to live, and also like what top 3 richest state in the country. So
Most
everyone online
millionaires
was
per-
blowing up saying the first.
yeah,
richest
do
state.
I? Oh, is it really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know we have the most millionaires per square.
That's the
Or
rebuttal.
whatever.
Like,
I
they
know,
got
it's
the most
like, do you
millionaires. I
wanna-
don't think it'd be a problem getting another one.
Do you want to send you a picture of Aaron Rodgers' house that was in the New York Post? Like,
Yeah.
what the fuck are you talking about, man?
All right. So I'm not a giant fan of New Jersey. I should say this. I'm not a giant fan of the area of New Jersey that I live in for the simple fact that is extreme. We don't see eye to eye of where I live in a political sense and how most of the people that live around this area act. I don't really get along with a ton of them. But as far as, and the taxes are very high, but as far as living in New Jersey.
Congrats on your January 6th pardon, by the way.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Don't thank me. You know who to thank. So I live 7 minutes from the beach, right? I work a block from the beach. I work in between the friggin' bay and the ocean. It's gorgeous. I am an hour from New York City. I'm an hour from Atlantic City. Any concert that you want to go to, you're an hour from Philadelphia. It really is a great spot if you want things to do.
PNC's
And
right there too, right?
any idea how many times people have come here, like friends of either my daughters from college and stuff, and have been here and been like, I had no idea this was New Jersey. Like I thought, like you said, New Jersey was Newark and Camden, and that was it. Like so, yeah, it has a lot to offer, especially if you have money.
Dude, I've spent all those years driving from the East Coast to the West northern border of New Jersey, you know, out there by Heightstown, all that, like through farms the whole way till you get to a whole different area over there.
Yeah.
You know, it's beautiful and open. The beaches we have and everything. Yeah, we're not going to get into that whole thing, but it's just that perception. It's just so. This guy probably was never even here. He didn't know anything about it, but you know,
No,
It's
we get a
literally
bad rap, which I think is
it's literally
hysterical.
called the Garden State.
That's a good point.
more horses per capita than any other
And
state, including
like
Texas.
the town I grew up in, like it's farms. It's
Yeah.
literal farms.
I mean, look, it's overpopulated as hell. Like especially in the you know
Up north, yeah.
more urban areas and stuff.
north.
Yeah, like I mean,
Sure.
I live in a town now where when I was growing up, there was about 40,000 people here. There's about 120,000 people now that live in this town,
Jesus
and it's
Christ, really?
growing. Yeah, so like, yeah, it's very overpopulated. So I guess everybody wants out, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, you and your boys are deporting everybody, right?
All right, Tim, that's the last joke you're fucking making, or I will
I'm
ditch you
kidding.
off of this stream.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
It's kind of funny once, and now you're making my skin crawl a little. So, okay,
I'm kidding.
let's discuss tomorrow. I'm nervous about this game. I am nervous about the Buffalo Sabres. I'm nervous not because they're the Buffalo Sabres. They suck. I'm nervous at the fact that we have been very inconsistent all year, and we really need to start getting that traction and getting consistent. This is the perfect team to do it against. Oh, why do I feel like we're going to fall on our face?
Yeah, well, because we lose to lesser teams.
Exactly.
Kind of like all the time. So there's that. And it's been going back for a couple years now. It's not just this year. So yeah, that's scary. You got the rough thing. You don't want to lose to them. Yeah, that would suck. I think we're gonna beat them. I think we're gonna beat them fine.
Tim,
We're
what do you
good.
think?
Move along.
Thoughts on Buffalo?
Yeah, they're a pretty bad team. We have no business losing to this team. To your point, that's a problem. My biggest problem is it's an afternoon game. Like just the last couple of afternoon games, just have been the most afternoon games of all time. Like inconsistent efforts, just not going or just going through the motions. But what I'm hoping is that that just something and Stephen Nason said it in an interview that I saw. I think it was with Trey Matthews. Was that something kind of woke up inside them during that Philly game where they realized and kind of got back to that physical first game. And I think that just kind of unlocks so much in them. They just sort of go back to that realization. Like they can bully the shit out of Buffalo and just beat the shit out of them out of the building. Like that, they can do that so easily. And they just need to do that. So that's kind of in terms of a keys to the game. That's what I'm looking for is that immediate physicality. Because if the first couple shifts are just sort of, doing circles and not stopping and starting and not getting on guys and not finishing through the body, I'll be like, oh boy, we're in for a long one.
Is it a 1 o'clock or a 3 o'clock start?
It's 1.
It's 1.
1 o'clock in Buffalo on a Saturday. That sounds exciting, doesn't it?
Like
we got up for this.
Sounds.
Shit.
But like they've had 4 or 5 days of rest. Hopefully Jack's finger is kind of back to being normal again. I don't know what Nico's deal is. Holla's apparently traveling with the team.
We're gonna worry about a finger. Like, oh, our best player's hurt. What happened? His finger. He hurt his finger. It's affecting his whole game.
Hey, he's doing knife tricks.
The crazy thing is, like, it wasn't even like the finger was hindering his play. They were keeping him out of practices because they didn't want his hand to get infected being in his dirty glove. So that's really why they were keeping him out. Like that seems like you could have done something maybe over the hand and then in the glove to stop it from getting infected. I don't know.
There are actually guys that have like allergy problems, like skin allergy problems, and they wear like little white gloves underneath.
Right.
But yeah, actually, Bob, that's a good reason not to play hockey again is because getting the hockey glove stench off your hands.
That is hard.
That stays with you for a while. Own
a hockey bag and you'll never want to play again. Yeah. That's all.
Ever tell this story? This guy in my beer league team, he stopped playing, but didn't tell his wife that he stopped playing.
Oh no, where was he going?
He was just going straight to the bar, and he'd be like half cocked by the time we'd be done with the game and meet him at the bar.
Was he a goalie?
No, but he'd go home. He'd go home, put his hands in his gloves. So
So
for like a couple
it
minutes.
smells like he played.
That smelled like he played.
That's awesome.
Hey, what's
All
that shiny
right.
stuff on your face? The glitter? What? Nothing.
Exactly.
Yeah, but so back to
we played in
Quinn
a
for a
strip club
second.
tonight, honey. What? Tim?
Back to Quinn for a second. We kind of let that go. But yeah, he's a
Yeah.
free agent in 27. If Vancouver starts selling off, I don't see why we wouldn't take a run at him in 27. We'll have plenty of cap space. Give him $15 million a year.
It'd be nothing. I mean, Luke and Quinn together. Oh, on that blue line.
Disgusting.
Holy shit.
Luke Quinn, Salayev.
Oh my
Then
god.
Nemec. Dougie maybe still. Kovacevic.
Yeah. Pesci will be there.
Siegenthaler maybe before Salayev, depending on when.
Oh, we have
when that
15
happens.
defensemen for 2027. This is great.
And
Quinn
that's the
Hughes.
thing. It's like we have to, and I'm also very curious. Like and what you guys watch him too is see how Kovacevic does away from Siegenthaler if they keep those pairs together, because I think that is obviously a really important thing that is going on in Devil's Land, because that then has that sort of cascading effect where it's like, if we don't resign Kovacevic and give that spot basically to Nemec, that means Casey's the next guy up, and then that makes Casey a little bit more valuable to us, and maybe not necessarily a piece that we can immediately trade or get rid of, because we need that kind of that depth, that next guy up depth.
It's going to be interesting. And to echo you, Bobby, I don't envy being a general manager, I don't envy them at all right now. But
salary for a while.
Yeah, I mean, it would be cool to be able to like just
something.
Play with a professional hockey team, like, you know, and be like, yeah, I'm gonna move this guy and I'm gonna bring this guy and completely fucking destroy it and just walk out the door.
You know, not sweat needing a new major appliance. You know, just go fucking buy one.
Just go buy one. That's it. All right, we're gonna wrap this thing up. Yeah, I mean, the last two games they were
something interesting. Oh, I just saw something interesting on Puckpedia.
Go on, Tim.
Did I freeze? Did you freeze?
No, you're good, buddy. We got you.
I froze.
No, you didn't.
Looks like Santeri Hataka is back on the roster and going to be playing in the AHL, I think.
Okay. Oh, they sent him down? He was up with the big club.
Yeah, I don't think he's hurt. Yeah, he was up skating with us, but he's now on the AHL roster.
Oh, okay. So they sent him back down. I like Hataka. I think he came over with the Timo deal, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. He could be a sneaky trade chip too.
Yeah, I like him.
I'd like to see him longer. Like, I know he could be a trade chip and maybe that's all he has to be, but I would actually like to look at him for a while. But
I agree. He played well for us last year.
In order to do that, then we probably have another bigger problem. So
and he's also an RFA. He's an RFA next year too, so it's kind of like he's another guy that we need to figure out. We also have Mishuel, who's a RFA next year.
I forgot about him too.
There's a lot of decisions.
A lot of decisions, but we're going to wrap this thing up. What I was going to say before is, you know, we're talking like the last two games were polar opposites of each other. I just want to see the latter be what we are, because that is who we are. But, you know, these regressions and then having to bounce back. Like, you look at this schedule coming up before the Four Nations. We have Buffalo, we have Pittsburgh, we have Vegas. And Vegas is struggling a little bit, but, you know, go out and beat Vegas. You want to be a contender, go beat them. And who's the fourth team? Montreal?
Canadians, yeah.
Pittsburgh?
Okay. No. I'd say in the last game is against the Canadians.
The
so
another 1 o'clock.
Oh, okay.
Another 1 o'clock Saturday, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we have tomorrow, we have Tuesday, we have Thursday, we have Saturday, and then we're off for 12 days.
Yep.
So win these next 4. Like, go on feel good with a 5-game winning streak. Keep Hischier out. I'm fine for the next 4 games. He's not playing anywhere for 2 weeks. You know, Markstrom should be back. Make whatever trades you got to make. Hopefully, I don't know. Is there a trade freeze during the Four Nations, or do we not know?
I don't think there is.
I don't think there is either. I didn't hear anything about that. Okay,
maybe an unofficial one. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, usually I'm sure one of us would have heard about that. So okay, so no trade. I mean, they can trade while this thing's going. So make whatever moves you got to make. Come back the second week of February. have our team assembled and ready to go and make that final push. That's what I want to see. But it's got to start. The consistency has to start tomorrow.
You're kicking off after the break against Dallas too. And there's a legit cup contender right there. So let's just get it going.
Yeah. All right, boys and girls, we are going to wrap this thing up. Thank you so much for hanging out with us tonight, even though it'll probably be morning by the time you listen to this or by the time we post this. So wherever you are listening to us or watching us, please, a subscription. If you're on the YouTube channel, we appreciate it. A like, a 5-star review, a positive comment, and help the little podcast that could. For Bobby and Tim, I'm Chris. We are the Uncle Puckers, and we'll see you when we see you.
Bye-bye.
Fuck you, Velcup.
It's over, Johnny. It's over!